how to add a journal citation to a data package. It's pretty simple, and probably most of you know that these are the public citations out that in journals when you cite a data package. We believe that these are really one of the best metrics to look at the impact of your data out in the community. So if we can measure those and we can actually log those in our system so that other users, when they come to look at a data package, they see this on the landing page, they know that those data are being used and that there's that value, that reuse, that whole FAIR concept of the data. So it's really important to be able to do this. So the first part of this, you need to log into the data portal, and I'll stress that you have to use the EDI LDAP credentials. And this is an account that we can provide to users. It has higher privileges than the OAuth accounts, and one of the privileges, again, is to add these journal citations. The next step is just to navigate to the journal citations menu item, and that's from our drop-down menus. Or if you're actually on a data package landing page, you can click on the Add Journal Citation button on the data package landing page itself. And at that point, you have to enter the package identifier that you're attributing that citation to, and one or both of the article DOI or the URL, along with the optional article title and journal title, and voila, there you have it. Now, if you can enter all that information, all the better, because more information conveys that much more information back to your customers, to the people actually looking at those data packages. So here is an example of what the citations look like on our landing page. So you see that there's this statement that says a data package in the series has been cited. You'll notice that these are hyperlinks if that article has been entered with the URL. In this case, there's also a DOI for this particular citation. And we also note that the journal is named GigaScience, which I'm not familiar with. We have actually two of these citations in here. And the last thing I just want to point out is at the very end of that citation is the package identifier. This is the canonical package identifier within our system. And the thing that's key here, it gives you the full identifier, including the revision value that that citation had been attributed to, so that if you actually look at any other revisions on that series, it will still hold that particular value, so you know what revision the citations go with. And there's that Add Journal Citation little button right there. So let me, I can show you real quick. I'm gonna hop on over here. This is gonna bring up a data package landing page. And this is on our production system. This is a data package, Lagos, NE, Limno. I'm not going to read all that. But the thing I want to point out, this is a really large data set overall. The data components to this data package are numerous. There's a lot of R scripts in here and data. And you'll notice a lot of provenance metadata in here, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But when I want to scroll down here to the bottom, here is the citations themselves. And if I click on that link, it will bring you back to the GigaScience webpage. And this is the article for which that data package is cited in. So these are manual citations. They currently only exist within our environment. We're looking at ways to expose this further as through like DataCite. And if you were going to actually add a new citation here, all you have to do is click, well, there's two ways. One, let me just hop back up to the menu. So you'll notice that I'm logged in. Actually, let me log out because I think I'm logged in as an OAuth provider. And so I'm gonna log in. And I'm gonna log in as the EDI user in this case. And I'll show you why. If I can remember the password. And no, we don't want that. I don't want that. And let's go back to that data package, package identifier. I think it's EDI 101, and the latest revision or version is number 3. So here we are. But as I mentioned, under the tools menu, you can click on this journal citation link, and it will bring up the form fields that you need to fill out. So again, there's this package identifier that you have to add. And then one of either of these, or both of those if you have that information, is the article GUI or the article URL, and then the optional title or journal title. So like I said, the more information, better. If I go back, you'll see that you can do the exact same thing. Let me just scroll down here. When I add a journal citation here, the only difference is it preloads that package identifier for you. And the point I wanted to make is that if you do have a journal citation that you enter into this form field, depending on what user you log in as, you do have that full list. Now you'll see that there's quite a few on different data packages. And the one thing I do want to point out is you do not have to be the owner of this data package to add a journal citation. So if you come across a citation as you're reviewing literature and you say, hey, I know that data packet, it's in PASTA or in the EDI Data Repository, you can actually, if you have that LDAP credential, you can log in and add that citation. And that's great then, because now we're building this information, corpus of information about these citations. The key factor that I wanted to show here is it also gives you the ability to, if, for example, you add a citation and it turns out to be incorrect or the URL goes dark for whatever reason, you can select the index number of that citation as it's shown here and delete that. I'm not going to do that now, but it gives you some control over how those are viewed within the data portal itself. So, and let's see, let's go back up here. So that's what it looks like on there. So we did this all through the data portal. I also want to show you, you can also use an application like a desktop application if you're familiar with command line interfaces, something like curl. In this case, I'm using an application called HTTP-PY. And you do a post. So this is the HTTP method that we would use. You're posting to this URL. You have to be explicit and let the web service know that it's application type XML. And then you have to authenticate using your credentials. Again, these are the LDAP credentials. And all I'm doing here is redirecting the output of this file called citation.xml into this post value. So this is just the payload, is creating the payload. And when you send that to the repository, you'll get a 201 created response, which is a good response. That's what you should see. That's a happy response. And I'll just want to point out here below, this is this authentication token. I'll talk about this towards the end of the presentation though, but just kind of keep that one in mind. So anyway, the citation.xml file has this type of content. It is XML. And here you see the EDI 101.3 package identifier, the article GUI, the article title, the article URL, and then the journal title itself. And that's all there is really to it in terms of creating these journal citations. So it's a real simple process, but very helpful in terms of the information content that's available to the consumers of these data packages. One last thing I just wanted to show you, which, yeah, this bonus feature. So on the bottom of our data package landing pages, this is basically the metadata summary pages. You may have seen these things called DataCite. These are badges. And what this is a service from DataCite, which basically alerts us to any article or journal citations that DataCite recognizes. Now, these may not necessarily be the same ones that we have within our context, but DataCite has a different process of finding these citations. And these are all on the bottom of the landing pages. And if there are any citations that DataCite has, this is a hyperlink that will go back to DataCite. And it basically shows you, yes, there were 2 citations in 2019. That's about all the information it provides at this point, but it is kind of a nice little perk that we see on the bottom of our pages like that.